Today we're going to talk about a trucking business that closed down in 2014. And we're going to talk about the different connections it had to Yellow and Jevic that we did in previous videos. Alright, so in 2002, a new trucking company got started in West Hampton, New Jersey. And I've been going through this, companies with a connection to Yellow, and I did a story about Jevic, which I'm going to put up top here. Did a story about Jevic, which is started by Harry Muhlschlegel, and a great man that Yellow bought later and pretty much ran into the ground. Now we're going to talk about, he sold that company in 1999, and in 2000 he started up a company called New Century. And New Century was known as a great company. I mean, they paid their drivers a fortune, good money. It was LTL, you know, it was hard work, but he had nice trucks. His road guys were in, I think he started out with 770 Volvos, you know, big sleeper. Not many companies were doing that at the time. Later on, he had, actually my dad drove for them for a little bit, and later on he had they were doing T6, they were still T600s at the time. The 660 wasn't out yet. But T600s with the big 86-inch studio, and yeah, they were a great company. So a year after Harry sold Jevic, he starts New Century. And New Century is, you know, like I said, they were a great company. You know, people really liked working for them. And so in 2010, they started to set up to file for their IPO. And at that point, they said they had 2,000 units. They also had a whole bunch of other lease trucks. They had some refrigerated trailers. Yeah, a lot of stuff that they own. And so they were going to file for it. I don't know, for one reason or another, it never actually happened. So New Century is a thriving company. And yeah, so in 2010, when they did their IPO, they were claiming, 2,000 equipment. And what was their revenue? 229.3 million in revenue that year. So pretty interesting. So what happened to the company? In 2012, Harry Muhlschlegel, the founder, retired. Great innovator. If you watch my last video, you know how much I think of the guy. And he retired. So they brought in a guy named Terrence Gilbert, goes by Terry Gilbert, to run the company. Now here is the really weird connection to me. As far as I'm concerned, this is a really weird connection. LTL company, successful LTL company. They brought in, Terry's work history was, actually I have it here in front of me. From 1998 to 2004, he was the vice president of the Eastern Division of Roadway. In 2004, from 2004 to 2007, he was the executive vice president of sales and marketing for Roadway. And from January 2007 to October 2009, he was the president of Roadway. Now, who owned Roadway? Yellow did. So essentially, he worked for Yellow for all this time. New Century brings him in as president, and what happens to the company? 2 years later, it's announced that they're shutting down. I believe they gave their drivers 2 days' notice. They said they were leaving. And there was news reports that they were leaving drivers stranded, and I don't think they actually did. I think that was just something that was said. The reason that they did it is because their funding got cut. Yeah, cutted's a word now. Their funding got cut. This is beyond me. I don't quite understand it. I don't quite understand. Were they working that? Was everything they did through banks' money? I don't understand big corporate world like that. But their funding got cut. What's interesting is at the time, they say New Century and its lenders diligently attempted to find solutions to deleverage the company's balance sheet. The best way to maximize value for the benefit of all creditors is to wind down the companies in bankruptcy proceedings. Okay. CEO Terry Gilbert at this point said about the move, the best alternative under difficult circumstances. Then he says, we were winning, the clock just ran out. What does that mean? I don't get it. So it goes on, it talks about their lender, Jeffries, declined to comment, but then I guess they did get some comments later. Sorry, I'm flipping down through this article here. So I also don't understand this. They were talking about the interest rates when they were offering the IPO. Of course, Harry was still president at that point, and he didn't. They were talking about the debt and everything. Well, I guess Jeffries is the main lender. I don't quite understand this either, but it said they decided not to add more equity to the company, which means it forced the banks to cut off funding. And this is according to John Larkin, and he is an analyst at a company called Stifel and Nicholas. Yeah, Stifel, Nicholas and Company. I hope I didn't butcher that name. But this John Larkin, an analyst, I think he said what everybody else said. What everybody else was thinking, and maybe not everybody else said it. He said, Muhlschlegel seemed to be the only one in the world who could make the load-to-ride, truckload to LTL hybrid model work effectively. Said that great operational mind was never systematized. Unfortunately for the owners of Jevic and New Century, 2 companies now went out of business. So, here's my question. Was there a yellow connection to New Century also? Or was this legit, that this Terry Gilbert came in and, it just baffles me that now he ran a good company. Roadway was a great company until Yellow bought them and pretty much drove them, to nothing. But they brought somebody who had worked most of his career under the YRC, the Yellow Roadway Corporation, or his, his presidential, his head, leading guy under that. They brought him in. 2 years later, company's gone. So, I'm not a conspiracy guy, but this happened twice. Again, if you haven't watched my video about Jevic, go watch it. But this happened twice now. And both of them had a yellow connection at the end. This might not be a big yellow connection. But I don't know. I just don't like that coincidence. It seems awful coincidental. Yeah. That's it. I'll end it with that. But hey, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to be working on a video. Since people seem to like these videos when we're talking about the different companies, I actually just finished a book about Arrow trucking, and most truck drivers will remember how horrible that was at the end. But I have a book that I read about, and I'm just finishing it up here, and I'm going to do a story about that. But yeah, hey, thanks for watching, everybody, and hey, like and subscribe if you liked it. Comment down below if you worked for New Century, if you know much about New Century, anything. I'd love to hear it. And if you got comments about Harry Muhlschlegel, I've said many times I thought he was a great man in the trucking industry. Was a great man. I believe he's still alive. I'm pretty sure he's still alive, but maybe I can actually catch up with him and find out the ideas behind that great mind and the way it works. So, thank you, everybody.